So let's talk about the different types of psychotherapy, because it's easy to get lost between behavioral, cognitive behavioral, dialectical, and blah blah blah. Behavioral therapy just says, hey, here's what's bad. Change it. So an example would be, don't drink alcohol. So this is something that they might give you on an exam. They might say, this advice would be example of behavioral, cognitive behavioral, dialectical. Cognitive behavioral therapy is more into having you understand the reasons why you do certain things. So why do you feel the need to drink? It's different from behavioral therapy because, yeah, the end result is to curb behavior, but to do it via cognition, have you think about reasons why and stuff like that. When you see dialectical behavioral therapy, it's always borderline personality disorder. And the reason comes from the origin of the word dialectical or dialectics, and it has to do with debates and arguments and reasoning between arguments and counter-arguments, and this idea of going between arguments, counter-arguments, arguments, counter-arguments, one side to the other, almost straddling the border, is very apropos for borderline personality disorder. And then interpersonal and supportive therapy just comes with the name. Alright. Medications, things you should remember. SSRIs go for pretty much everything. Keep in mind though, here are some important things to remember. Social anxiety disorder, of course SSRIs. However, for performance-only subtypes, things like you have to give a speech or something, beta blockers or benzodiazepines. Keep in mind, benzodiazepines in certain things, if you have to give a big speech or you have some presentation, might knock you out a little bit. If you have to, beta blockers take a little bit of time to get started. Bipolar disorder, lithium's always first line. However, you'll note that valproic acid can also be used. And as you go farther along, when you start doing clinics and stuff, you start seeing that valproic acid can be used for like anything. PTSD, prazosin helps with sleep. Remember that because they'll definitely test you on it. Stimulants, all these things are things that you understand and can recognize. Anything methamphetamine, methylphenidate, dextroamphetamine, amphetamine. You just increase the catecholamines and the synaptic cleft. There's nothing else to say here. Alright. So what was the big thing here? Understanding the dialectical behavioral therapies, specifically for borderline personality disorder. It has to do with the origin of the word dialectical, having to do with arguments and counter-arguments and one side of the aisle to the other, kind of like people who are borderline, one thing or another. And that's really it.